Good evening, friends. We are back with yet another episode of BMC Global Live AlHilal Health World, Nothing But Lifestyle. I'm Anupama Menon. Your health is our concern. In this talk show Health World, we have expert doctors from various fields providing valuable information on different medical topics to assist you all on your journey towards good health. Aging is a natural process. That's something inevitable and we all have to go through it whether we like it or not. But we all would like to age gracefully, isn't it? It's always a wonderful feeling when someone walks up to you and say that you look much younger than your age. That's definitely a confidence booster. And that's where Botox comes into picture. Botox has gained immense popularity in the last few years as a wonder drug that helps alleviate the signs of aging and gives that person radiant and youthful looks. But we all have a lot of concerns and fears and doubts about the use of Botox and its side effects. To dispel these doubts and fears, we are joined today by Dr. Alex James, specialist dermatologist and aesthetic physician at AlHilal Hospital, Hamadtown. He comes with a wealth of experience of over 8 years experience in the field of dermatology. So let's go over to him and find out more about Botox and its side effects and its usages. Dr. Alex, thank you for joining us on this show and welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
So as I said earlier, Botox is known as a wonder drug that makes miracles happen, helps us look younger, and we are all very familiar with the term. But we would like to know more about Botox, what it means in medical terms. What kind of drug is it? If you could just explain it for the benefit of the viewers.
First of all, Botox is just a brand name of a neuromodulator called botulinum toxin type A. So Botox or botulinum toxin is a purified substance which is derived from a bacteria called Clostridium botulinum. And this Botox is just a substance or a diluted concentration of this neurotoxin.
Okay, so basically it's a toxin.
It's just a toxin.
So how does it work? How does it help eliminate the signs of age?
So what this neurotoxin actually does is it specifically prevents the muscle from moving. So we all know that we have this muscles for expressions, right? We always frown, we make this funny faces, we smile, and we have this angry faces. All of these can cause an expression. And this expression is because of this muscle. When you have muscle and expression, and then thereby leading to this fine lines and wrinkles. So when you inject a Botox, the Botox acts within 1 to 2 weeks, and then this Botox immediately act on the muscle, and then there will be reduction on those fine lines and wrinkles.
Okay, so basically it works on the muscles to make it more stiff, or rather to reduce the movement.
Yes. So Botox, what usually in layman's term is, it reduces the muscle activity. So it reduces the muscle action of your face so that there is no much expressions that's happening. So then that will reduce the fine lines and wrinkles on your face.
So why do people generally go for Botox? Like one reason that you gave is, of course, we all want to look younger. We want to reduce the wrinkles in our face. But could there be other reasons as well? If you could just list out the various reasons that people get.
Wrinkles is one of the main things. But wrinkles are divided into two types. You have the dynamic lines and you have the static lines. Dynamic lines are those lines when you express an emotion. For example, when you frown, you have these lines in between your eyebrows. And when you smile, you have this crow's feet, which is called the lines in the outer edge of the eyes. Exactly, outer edge of the eyes. So when the problem with dynamic lines is that when you keep frowning and when you keep smiling all the time, over the time, these lines will become static. And these lines will become static before you can expect them to be static. So, and then finally they end up in permanent lines on your foreheads, permanent lines on your eyebrows, and then and
that's a giveaway of your age as well.
Exactly, but not necessarily everybody is very comfortable with having these lines on your face. So in order to prevent this dynamic lines to become static, what we do is we inject Botox, and we inject Botox at an age where they have this prominent dynamic lines, and then we treat them so that they don't get this lines later on when they're 40s and 50s. So the common areas that we treat this Botox is the frown lines between the eyebrows, the horizontal lines that you see on the forehead, and also you can have the crow's feet, which is on the outer edge of the eyes, It's also we also do it in smokers, and with people who smokes. Like when you do this action of pouting, that you can have these lines later on, and people who make funny faces like this, and this kind of actions all the time, and they do have this something called bunny lines. We have these lines over the outer ridge of the nose. These are the cosmetic reasons why people get Botox done. But on the same time, we also do have some non-cosmetic areas where people also get Botox done. For example, for hyper-sweating of your palms and soles, increased sweating of your palms and soles. And you also have for neck spasms, for hyperactive bladders. These are the secondary things. But then I get a lot of patients who come to me with have the increased sweating of their palms and soles, because it's very embarrassing for them, because they also feel very discomfort by getting this, too much of sweating on the hands, on the soles, and even on the underarms.
Underarms as well.
So they always have this embarrassment of having their the t-shirt or the or their shirt being wet, and then they don't finally end up going in. It's an embarrassment for them. For the quick response is a Botox done. So and then I have a lot of people who's been doing with me for Botox for last 2 to 3 years continuously, and they don't do it for the face. They come here just for get their underarms done, so that they feel very comfortable as they are. Usually it's men, but then women also come to me for this hyperhidrosis.
Okay, so that's a good information. I mean, generally when we talk about Botox, the first thing that comes to our mind is it's only for cosmetic purposes. But to know that it can be done to control your sweat glands, and
people always think that Botox is only for this cosmetic. There are a lot of non-cosmetic reasons. Some people use it for headache. Some people use it for neck spasms, and some people use it for this, like I said, the hyperhidrosis, excessive sweating. That's very that's an embarrassment for the individual, because they don't feel confident in front of other people.
It can disrupt your social life.
Exactly.
Okay. So whenever we talk about Botox, of course we know about its good effects, the positive effects, but also a fear creeps into your mind. What could be the side effects? Because as you said, it is a toxin, it is a drug, and anything that's injected in your body has to come with its share of side effects.
Exactly.
So if you could just elaborate on the side effects of getting a Botox treatment.
So with every cosmetic procedure or medical procedure, there's a room for side effects. So in Botox, we have bruising, swelling, redness, and bleeding. These are the most common side effects that usually happens within the procedure. As in, it is immediately after the procedure you get these complications, but it resolves in a few hours, and then it's gone. You don't have that complication anymore. But then there are some very serious side effects, like unnatural results, drooping of the muscle, and also you can have a frozen look, frozen face. So the reason behind this is that a lot of people go to the clinics which are not legitimate, which are not done by qualified doctors, and they get this injection done. You know why that happens? It's because these people who are doing the procedures, they're not qualified enough to do this procedure, and they always do not know the anatomy of the face. And then they finally end up having a very funny face, and they also do not know how to inject. There's always a certain dosage you need to give to a patient. If you go beyond that, definitely it's going to have a very funny look on the patients. So I always suggest that it's very, very important to go to a qualified doctor at a legitimate clinic to do any of these procedures, especially Botox and fillers.
So if you're not in safe hands, then it can just give you the opposite effect, I guess.
Yes, it definitely does.
Because a lot of times we keep hearing about stories about celebrities getting, Botox or some facelift, and it goes horribly wrong.
Yes.
So a botch-up will lead to even more complications.
Exactly,
so
it will lead to more complication, because once you don't do it properly, it's going to it's going to be there in your body for 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to be with that for 6 months, and only then later you can get rid of it, because the action just stays for that long.
But if done properly and by a qualified dermatologist, there's nothing to worry about. So doctor, how long is the recovery time? How long does it take for this swelling and reddishness that you mentioned, for that to subside? What is the downtime normally?
The downtime is very minimal. Like I said before, it usually takes 3 to 4 hours minimum. But people who come do the procedure, they go back to their work immediately. It's just like they come in, they do the procedure, and then within few hours they can get back to what they've been doing. So the downtime is very minimal. It just takes few hours actually.
Okay, so that's good to know. So it's not even a very complicated or a major procedure.
No, but
doesn't interrupt with your daily life.
No. In fact, there are patients that who come to me because they have this huge few hours of gap. They get this done, they go back to their work.
Okay.
So it's very common to do it.
That's good. And another fear that a lot of people have when we talk about Botox is will their face look unnatural? Because actually you don't want people to notice that you have undergone some treatment. We will all like to look beautiful, but in a very natural way. So in a lot of Botox cases, we have observed that the face tends to look a bit plastic or a bit unnatural. So why does this happen, and is it normal?
So it's a very good question actually. I've been facing this a lot of these kind of questions even from my relatives. It's actually a myth because when do you get a good Botox done? It's when then people do not feel that you've got a Botox and when you actually have done it,
yes.
And it's when you minimally do it. We always leave a few lines here or there because you always also want people to know that you can still make funny faces, you can still have an expression, right? So it's only the too much of wrinkles that we try to get rid of here, and we don't want to correct it fully because it will look so unnatural. So, but then there are patients who really want to get it in a very unnatural way, and that's the look that they like.
So that's their choice.
That's their choice. But it's always, it's always people's perspective when it comes to how they want to look. But then I always recommend having a very natural way of doing it. That's how you'll want to do it later on. It must be the youngsters who doesn't want to do it very natural way, because they always want to have that extra lift on their faces.
Yes.
But then when you come to 30s and 40s and 50s, they will want to do it in a natural way. So if you do it in a natural way from the beginning, you'll love that look on your face, and then I think that's the way you should go about it.
I guess you'll have to do it in a very subtle way where people are not able to figure out that you have done this Botox treatment.
Yes.
So aging, like I said earlier, age in a very graceful manner.
Yes.
Leave a few lines here and there so
yes.
that you still look your age, but you still look
It's not to
beautiful.
like cover anything from that you haven't done Botox. It's just that to look natural.
Look naturally beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't have to cover yourself that I haven't done a Botox, but still I look natural. It's not that I'm trying to implement. It's just that the natural way to do. People shouldn't know that you have done a Botox. That's how it should be.
Yes.
Even though people know that you've done a Botox, it should
There's nothing wrong about it. It's your personal choice.
Personal choice.
Yes. And like you said, there are certain people who would like to have that very plastic kind of a look. So it's a personal choice, and if they want to do that, they can do that.
They can do it. But there are a lot of people, but I usually don't recommend.
Okay.
If people come to me, also
you discourage.
I discourage them. But then if they want to get it done.
So doctor, how long do the results last? Is it a long-term, a permanent solution to your aging problems, or is it something that you need to repeat very frequently?
Typically, the Botox will last for 3 to 6 months, and may or may not you want to repeat it again.
Okay.
So, however, once you've done a Botox, usually people will like that look of it, and they will keep wanting to do it again. Being said that, there are some people who always ask me this question again. Doctor, is it okay that once I do Botox, is there a need for me to do it again? I would say absolutely not. Once you do it, and if you don't want to repeat again, it's completely fine. And the skin will be back to normal how it was, and you will not have any lasting damage to your skin. So it's fine. And this longevity of Botox, how long it will last, it differs from person to person and product to product. By person to person, what I mean is, if you inject a Botox in a person who does a everyday physical activity, like go in the gym, or like he do strenuous activities all the time, and in comparison with someone who doesn't have any physical activity. The metabolism in a person who we do Botox the person
very active
person, it metabolizes faster, meaning it will stay less longer.
Okay.
It will not stay longer because where the metabolism is high, the Botox will wean off really fast. So that means it will stay for maximum 3 months compared to a normal person. Normal person will stay for like maybe 4 to 5 months. It's just that 1 month gap. It can happen because that's when people have a controversy that that person's Botox lasted longer and mine didn't last longer. This is the reason, because people have this confusion.
It depends from person to person.
And from product to product, what I mean is there's a lot of cheaper products in the market now, where people think that I got this done for very less than compared to the other one, is because Botox is not cheap. If it's cheaper because it doesn't stay long, because there's a lot of other brands that's come into place, and they've taken the role of not making the Botox the right product as it is. So then it makes the product value shorter, and then it doesn't give a good result. As in, like, it stays just some Botox treatment, it just stays for 2 months. It completely says that it's not a good product. I mean, it's a cheaper product. But they always try to get Botox done from a good place, from a good legitimate clinic, so that you know what is right, you know what you're doing, so that it stays for the right amount of time, and you get it done with the qualified doctor, like I said before.
So normally the results would last up to 3 to 4 months, depending on somebody's metabolism,
physical
and
activity.
Physical
yes,
activity.
Exactly.
But minimum 3 months.
It could, yeah,
sure,
sure.
So 2 things that we all have to keep in mind is, first of all, we have to use good quality Botox, and then go to a legitimate clinic or a dermatologist who's well experienced and well qualified. So we have to make sure that we are in good hands to get the full results.
Exactly. I would suggest you should always read about the clinic or the hospital that you're going to.
Do some research.
Read about the doctor, how experienced he is, what has he done, and then do it. Because there are a lot of clinics, there are a lot of small places who are doing Botox, not doctors who are doing Botox. Please kindly not do it from them, because it can harm yourself.
So is it a painful procedure? Because obviously something is going to be injected into your face. So is it really going to hurt a lot, or is it?
Everyone asks me this question, if Botox is painful. Actually, it's not painful. It is painful if your pain threshold is very less, but nowadays we usually uses this invisible needles called invisible needles to inject Botox on your face. And then we also can use a numbing cream before the procedure, so that you don't get you don't have any pain while doing the procedure. So I can even run through the procedure if you want me to.
Please
do it. So before the procedure, there's no any precautions to be taken before the procedure, but we call in the patient 1 hour before the appointment, and then we just to assess the face, just to we talk to the patient, see what the patient actually wants, how to treat it, and where do you want to treat it, get it done. And we use a numbing cream. People who don't want to use the numbing cream can skip the step and go directly to an injection part. So we use a numbing cream, and then we bring the patient in. We mark the areas where he wants to get injected. The most important part of the procedure is the post-care. So usually after the procedure, we always tell the patient not to rub their eyes vigorously, or not to do any face massages, and stay upright for 4 hours. Don't sleep on that area on your face. When you stay, some people tend to sleep on with their face downwards. Do not do that. And these are the most important post-care treatment, because post-care actually happens within the 48 hours. So you need to be very careful within the 48 hours, and especially don't forget to please do not do any strenuous activities after doing Botox, because it's very important not to, because it will wean off the Botox very faster within the 48 hours if you don't put yourself at rest. So it's very important.
So it's very important to be upright at least for next 4 hours. Not too much of physical activity, and vitamin E and green tea to be avoided. And patients have to keep in mind that they should not rub their face vigorously. So these are all like, something which can be easily followed. It's not at all
That's why I
complicated.
said you can go back to your can go back to your work or
your
whatever
daily
activity you're
life.
doing
Yes.
right after the procedure.
So at what age do you recommend this kind of Botox injections? I mean, what is the right age to start?
Medically, you can start Botox after 18 years is
Okay.
what medically you can do it. But I would suggest that you can start Botox after 25, your late 20s and your early 30s you can start Botox. Because that's the time you start to age. That's the time you start to, your aging process starts.
Okay.
So by doing this, you want to prevent this aging. You want to reverse, you don't want to progress this aging. So late 20s and early 30s is what you can start doing Botox. But there is something called preventive Botox where men and women after 18 years, they want to get it done. Even though they don't have any wrinkles and fine lines, they want to get the Botox done. Because by doing this, it's nearly impossible to have any fine lines and wrinkles later on. But then I don't suggest to do it, but then there are people who does it. I mean, there's no harm in doing it after 18 years, there's no harm in doing it, but then it's always good to
Ideally
do
after 25
or 30, early 30s is what you want to do it. Because again, sometimes some people will have a straight face when they go to college. They'll have a straight face. They'll have this expressionless face sometimes if they don't do it rightly. So yeah, it's something that.
So doctor, before we wrap up, any takeaway message for our viewers on Botox and how effective it is to prevent aging?
Yes, Botox is something that you can reverse your aging when you start early. When you start an early age, it helps you to get a better skin quality also, and also you can reverse your aging before when you go into 40s and 50s. You can still look younger only when you start early. It's very important to start Botox at an early age if you don't want, like I said, the dynamic lines to go into static lines, if you don't want to do that. But being said this, you always want to do it the right way. You always want to do it with someone who's very qualified, who's at a very good clinic, who knows what you're doing. So Botox is a very easy procedure. There's nothing to worry about. Like, people always have this stigma if does it look unnatural, if it's too painful, all of that sort. I don't think it's too unnatural or if it's too painful. It's a very easy procedure. It's a good procedure if you're looking for an anti-aging process. It's the first step that I think we should do for the anti-aging process. In fact, it is one of the easiest procedure with very minimal downtime. You can do it anytime. And I always recommend that you need to do it in a legitimate clinic with a qualified doctor, because it's very, very important, because a lot of people in the market who's not doing it in a good way. And I think we should always be careful and be mindful of what we do and where we get it from.
Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you for those reassuring words. Like you said, it seems to be a very simple procedure, but with a lot of miraculous effects on the signs of aging.
Yes.
So thank you for taking the time out to be with us today and for explaining to us in detail about Botox. Thank you once again.
Pleasure was mine.
So friends, as Dr. Alex mentioned, Botox is a wonderful solution to all your aging problems. But only two things that you have to keep in mind: it has to be a good quality Botox and it has to be done in a legitimate clinic. If you're in safe hands, the results are going to be wonderful. All said and done, external beauty is important and we all look for that appreciation and compliments, but at the same time, please learn to love yourself and accept yourself for who you are, because self-love is the sure shot way to feeling beautiful. Wishing you all lots of happiness and good health always. This is Anupama signing off. Till we meet again next time, good night and stay safe.